Good Wednesday morning, everyone. Welcome back to Weather on the Go, all your weather coverage. In today's weather forecast, I'll be tracking a wicked storm system bringing a frenzy of impacts, including flooding rain, heavy snow, and severe weather through the next few days. And I'll be taking a look at the long-range weather forecast through the end of January in this video. If you guys are new to the channel and have yet to subscribe, hit the subscribe button down below, guys. We're almost to 15,000 subscribers, so thanks to all the new subscribers out there. Also hit the notification bell to get all of my daily weather forecast updates on this channel. I cover all of North America, including Canada, the United States, and the tropics. So hit the subscribe button down below, everyone, and the notification bell to get all of my daily weather forecast updates on this channel. Looking out the door this morning, we got some cold temperatures up here across southern and southeastern Canada, below zero low temperatures here, waking up into Quebec and Ontario, Canada, with that deep snowpack here this morning. We're waking up to 33 degrees below zero for an actual air temperature there into central Quebec this morning. But here into the lower 48, into the United States here, we got the teens and 20s waking up across the Dakotas, into Minnesota and Wisconsin. Milder air farther to the south with temperatures in the 50s and 60s, even middle 60s down here toward the Houston area and Lake Charles, Louisiana as well. And that's going to be a higher springboard of which to our high temperatures will get to later on today. And again, looking at the past 24-hour change in our air temperatures, yes, a very big cool down up here across southeastern Canada, but down to the south, we've actually had a 20-30 degree temperature swing from the last 24 hours to now. So a big warm up across the deep south and the Arklatex over the past 24 hours. Looking at the visible satellite imagery this morning, we got a parade of storm systems that continues to feed off of that atmospheric river moving in across California, where they have had relentless moisture in the form of heavy flooding rain and heavy snow out west, especially with the Sierra Nevadas getting crushed by several feet of snow over the last several days. And looking here at the past 72 hours for our liquid precipitation, this is your rainfall. Over the past 72 hours, we had a stripe of rain from the Arklatex back through the Tennessee Valley and the Carolinas, bringing a couple inches of rain along a frontal boundary there. But back to the west, this is the real deal, guys. We have lots of heavy rain that did move through over the past 72 hours through California, all the way up the west coast here into western Oregon and western Washington state. But in particular, California here, we've seen some very significant rainfall here, especially in those coastal areas. We're talking about rainfall amounts over a half a foot, in fact, getting close to a foot of rain over the past couple of days here, down towards portions of Los Angeles and just west of the Los Angeles region, causing that flooding out there. But over the past 72 hours, we've also had our fair share of very heavy mountain snow out west. You can see a lot of those ski resorts loving the snow out west here across Idaho, portions of Utah near the Salt Lake City area, back through Nevada here in much of the Pacific Northwest. But looking down here at the Sierra Nevada mountains, we've been crushed by very heavy snowfall. We're talking snow amounts over 60 inches in the past 72 hours, and we're going to be adding to that here in the next few days. But if you guys are still with me on this video, definitely press that like button down below, that thumbs up button. It helps to get all of this weather information out to more and more people, so I definitely appreciate that. And looking back to the west, yes, we have those winter weather advisories and those winter storm warnings across places like the Salt Lake City area and toward the Colorado Rockies. But back off here to the west toward the Sierra Nevada mountains, we have those winter storm warnings gearing up for more heavy mountain snow, and also those flood watches where we are continuing to see those saturated soils here, with flooding actually likely over the next couple of days through central portions of California. And it all has to do with this atmospheric river of moisture here. We have a very energetic jet stream across the north central Pacific that just relentless moisture up through portions of the west coast and California over the last several days, and there is no reason to believe that this will be ending anytime soon. In fact, we have a very strong, formidable low pressure system just off the west coast here of the United States and southwestern Canada at a 969 millibar low pressure system, and this is going to be crashing in toward the west coast with moisture going through the day today. This is your noon hour, and we're seeing some heavier snow up here across Wyoming, portions of the Colorado Rockies, even the panhandle of Nebraska, a few inches there. But back to the west, we're going to be seeing some very heavy snow across the Sierra Nevada mountains here. We're going to be seeing several inches accumulate through the day today. And then across western, northwestern portions of California, along those coastal regions, some moderate to heavy pockets of rain through the noon time frame. That continues into the overnight time frame as well through 9 p.m. this evening. And some of that heavier rainfall will be lifting farther north as well across western Oregon, western Washington state. A little bit less snowfall across the Sierra Nevada mountains here by this time. And then as we go through the midday hours on Thursday, we'll start to lift more of that precipitation up farther to the north, really encompassing more of Washington state, southwestern Canada, and parts of Oregon as well, and we'll start to shut off some of this rainfall for the time being for California, getting toward the midday hours on Thursday. So looking at the rainfall amounts, this is your total rainfall accumulation here through the next 24 to 36 hours out here. We're going to be talking about several inches of rain, again, that 2 to 5 inches of rain or more locally across northern and northwestern California here, especially along those coastal regions. Also some heavier rainfall farther up to the north across coastal Oregon and Washington state, places like Seattle, Portland, Oregon. We could be talking about a couple of inches for you of rainfall. And looking at this here, the Weather Prediction Center today does have that marginal to slight risk for flash flooding across northwestern California and extreme southwestern Oregon. And then going through the day tomorrow on Thursday, we have that marginal to slight risk as well in those very same areas across northwestern California and far southwestern Oregon, even a little spot up to the north toward the Seattle region here into western Washington state with a marginal risk of flash flooding there on Thursday. Looking at the total snowfall accumulation here, again, the Rocky Mountains here and much of the Intermountain West, including the Sierra Nevadas, are going to be seeing their fair share of snowfall yet again. Those ski resorts are going to be loving several inches, if not a couple more feet of snow over the next 24 to 36 hours. And that's going to be creating those minor to at least moderate impacts, especially as you get into the higher elevations of California and the Intermountain West. So definitely some treacherous travel out west. So definitely leave plenty of room between you and the car in front of you as possible here when slowing down on those roadways. Definitely helps to stay safe out there. But this is some good news for the drought as well. Off to the west, we still have those oranges and reds showing up here across Oregon, California, Nevada, and Utah as well. And I know we have lots of drought still in the center of the country, but unfortunately, we're not going to see much in the way of precipitation across the Great Plains. But like I said, well off to the west here, we're talking about some very nice rainfall and moisture. And this is the drought monitor from January 3rd. And I have reason to believe that this is going to be improving in a big way here. The U.S. monthly drought outlook actually through the entirety of the month of January does have that drought remaining, but improving across much of California, Oregon, and Nevada here, and Utah as well, and really much of the southwestern United States during that time frame. Also of concern across portions of West Texas, the Panhandle of Texas, up here into portions of southeastern Colorado, western portions there of Oklahoma, and much of eastern New Mexico are these high wind warnings and red flag warnings here in the pink shaded colors. That's where we're going to see the combination of gusty winds and dry soils down here to combine for a wildfire risk later on today. In fact, there's an elevated to critical fire weather risk across portions of the Panhandle of Texas from Amarillo down through Midland and Lubbock, Texas, and then back off to the west here into eastern New Mexico as well. So definitely be mindful of that through the day today. And the reason for that is because the relative humidity values this afternoon in these brown shaded colors are actually going to be down to around 10-20%. So very dry air mass out there. And again, this is going to be combining with the strong gusty winds as well, as we have another low pressure system moving across the Rockies into the Front Range. And it's going to be bringing a lot of these strong gusty winds at the surface, anywhere from 20 to 30 miles per hour sustained, with wind gusts over 50 and perhaps near 60 miles per hour in those high wind warning areas into eastern New Mexico, the Panhandle of Texas, and then getting up to the Front Range of the Rockies as well toward Denver as we head through this afternoon. But this system is going to continue to push off the Front Range here into the southern plains. Again, this afternoon, a lot of energy moving across these regions, and this is going to lead to a severe weather threat farther to the east here across the Illinois Valley and getting down here towards portions of the center of the country. We have a low marginal risk of severe weather across southern Illinois, places like Carbondale, Paducah, Kentucky, getting back here into the foothills of Missouri and northeastern Arkansas, northwestern portions of Tennessee, and western Kentucky as well. A 2% shading here of tornadoes. A brief spin-up tornado or two is possible later on today here across the mid-Mississippi Valley, so that will be something to keep an eye on. And looking at this here at the noon time frame, nothing to worry about. Pretty quiet out here. That system will still be off to the west across the Front Range. But as we head into the overnight hours, towards the late evening, early morning hours on Thursday around the midnight time frame, we'll be starting to see some isolated to widely scattered showers and storms firing up across the Missouri Valley and down here into northeastern Arkansas, southern Illinois, and that will continue to press its way off to the east toward the western Ohio Valley and Tennessee Valley, and that could be bringing some low-end threat for damaging winds, large hail, and a couple of brief spin-up tornadoes, and of course some heavy rainfall getting through that sunrise time frame here on Thursday morning. And the reason why we see this severe weather threat is we have some strong mid-level winds in the 500 millibar layer rounding the base of this trough here, anywhere from about 60 to 70 knots here, so definitely some speed shear with this system. Also a little bit of a low-level jet. The stronger dynamics, though, with the low-level jet will be farther to the south, but the nose of the low-level jet will creep up toward the Mississippi Valley region here into the mid-Mississippi Valley later on this afternoon and this evening, creating some of that dynamic for the turning of the winds with height for those tornadoes out there. But it doesn't stop there. As we head into the day tomorrow on Thursday, January 12th, that energy pushes farther off to the east into the eastern two-thirds of the country with a frontal boundary with that cold front out there, and that's going to be providing some fuel for storms as well. Dew points will be rising through the 50s and low to mid-60s down here across the Tennessee Valley, the southeast, and the Gulf Coast regions, and that's why we have a much more widespread area of thunderstorms tomorrow and severe weather as well. We have a marginal to slight risk, level 1 and 2 of 5 on the scale here. So a higher threat for severe weather as we head into Thursday. We got that slight risk across Birmingham, Tuscaloosa, getting up through the Atlanta metro area, Chattanooga, and across portions here of Georgia into western South Carolina as well. That marginal risk of severe storms actually extends farther up to the north toward the Cumberland Plateau, getting up toward the Smoky Mountains, and then getting up here into portions of Kentucky and western and central North Carolina as well. A very large area of actually 2% shading of tornadoes, a few tornadoes here from Kentucky down through the middle and eastern Tennessee, including the Cumberland Plateau and the Smoky Mountains, and also farther south through Alabama, Georgia, including the Birmingham, Tuscaloosa area, Atlanta, and then getting over toward Columbia, South Carolina as well, and up into portions of North Carolina. So looking at this here Thursday morning, 9 a.m. time frame, we got that squall line here of showers and storms, kind of a broken line as it pushes through middle eastern Tennessee up here through portions of Kentucky. A little bit more spin up here towards Kentucky with that low pressure system, so we'll watch some severe weather with tornadoes possible there. And again, more of a damaging wind risk, I think, across portions of middle and eastern Tennessee, Alabama, and portions of eastern Mississippi in the morning. As this spreads to the east, it's going to turn into more of a damaging wind and large hail threat with heavy rainfall rather than a tornado threat, but we still have to watch the leading edge of this line in the afternoon on Thursday tomorrow for some spin-up tornadoes, and then that will peel its way off to the east going into Friday. As we go into Friday, that low pressure system will deepen to a 996 millibar low up here across interior New England. All rain across the I-95 corridor from Boston down through Connecticut, New York City, and New Jersey. Heavier snow will be flying up here into northern Maine, getting in through southeastern Canada, Montreal, back through Toronto here. We could be seeing several inches of snow on Friday, and then that system will move off the east coast here and out of sight as we head into Saturday, January 14th. So looking at the rainfall amounts during that 48-hour period here from Friday through Saturday time frame, we could be seeing some heavier rains up here across the Ohio Valley and the Northeast, and some heavier rain down here as well across the Southeast here. However, more progressive these storms will be, so not too terribly concerned about a flooding risk. But looking at the heavier snow up to the north, we got several inches of snow here, possibly over a foot in some areas into southeastern Canada and northern Maine as we head through that time frame. And zooming this in, we could see several inches to a foot of snow anywhere from the Toronto area up toward Montreal, and especially northern Maine. We could be seeing several inches to around a foot of snow here. And again, all rain for that I-95 corridor. So yet again, unfortunately, we will be missing out on the bigger snow here across much of the Northeast, across places like Pennsylvania, southern New York, and much of that I-95 corridor with this system. But looking longer range, if you're looking for any snow out there, it doesn't look like to be the case, because as we get into that third week in January from the 16th through the 20th, 21st timeframe, it does look predominantly warm across the eastern two-thirds of the country with those well above average temperatures. Of course, it's going to be cooler across the southwestern United States from California through Nevada and the Phoenix area, with those troughs moving in and the heavier rains across those areas. And again, that active weather pattern will be there, but most of this will probably fall as rain into the third week in January with those above average temperatures, but it will be active. So that is some good news to alleviate a lot of the drought across the middle and eastern two-thirds of the country and across really much of the lower 48 as well. But after that time frame, after we get towards that time frame here toward that third week in January, this is Wednesday, January 18th, some of the ensemble guidance is hinting at a couple of troughs starting to dig in across the western two-thirds of the country, and that's going to amplify the subtropical jet across the southern and eastern two-thirds of the country going into the middle of next week and into the middle of next weekend as well. And this subtropical jet will be key for the potential for some snow if we can get some cold in here, at least some marginally cold temperatures near freezing or below as we head into next weekend. So that will be something to keep an eye on during that time frame. And again, we're seeing that here, a signal, at least with the GEFS ensemble here, which is part of the GFS suite of models, and you can see a lot of the eastern two-thirds of the country will be at least above average precipitation. Whether or not this falls as rain or snow is yet to be determined, but we'll continue to monitor that as we get closer. But there is one thing for sure, and this has been a consistent signal for the last couple of weeks, really. Toward the end of January, as we close out the last few days of the month and go toward the first few days of February, there is a very strong push here of that Arctic blast yet again in that polar vortex pushing farther south. That freezing line could go all the way down toward the Red River here and the deep south starting on Sunday, January 29th. And then that continues all the way through the closing day of January on Tuesday, January 31st, which even a stronger push of cold air, at least up here into the northern plains, the Great Lakes, and the upper Midwest, still with that freezing line well far south. And again, that could lead to more snowfall during this period. We'll start to transition that snow line farther south, I do think, as we get towards the final days of January and especially getting into early February. So if you're a snow lover out there, wait patiently. I promise you there is some light at the end of the tunnel with some snowfall potential, at least opportunities for snow towards the end of this month and into early February. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. I definitely appreciate it. Remember to like the video down below, give it a thumbs up, leave any comments, questions, and concerns below. I'll get to those later on today. Subscribe to the YouTube channel if you're new, and hit the notification bell to get all of my daily weather forecast updates on this channel. Have a great Wednesday, everybody, a great rest of your week, and I will see you all in the next video.